Hey dudes, what is up? Carter here. Well, I've been carrying around my new Sebenza Insingo all day today, and it has been quite enjoyable. But I got my new lanyard, or sorry, my new my new lanyard. What the hell's wrong with me? I got my new lanyard in the mail today, so I figured I would put that on and thought that maybe you'd get a kick out of taking this Sebenza apart because there's some cool stuff inside, and it's kind of fun to look inside. So here it is. I got the beautiful blue lanyard with the bead and the new post. Very, very cool stuff. I've got one similar for my Umnums on. So I like that one so much, I went ahead and picked that one up there. So yeah, let's go ahead and take this apart real quick, if you wouldn't mind hanging out with me here. You have the pivot screw, then you have the stop pin screw, which also acts as another standoff. And then you have a standoff down here. So yeah, really simple construction on this guy. Real easy to take apart. Another thing that I like is that all of the torque screws are the same size, so you don't have to have multiple freaking Torx bits to take it apart. Let me not cut myself again, because this is pressed together really, really well. And I'm feeling if I did that on camera, I would cut myself again. So here is the front side TI slab. Not a ton going on here. Obviously you have all the holes for the hardware, the lanyard pin, and just the Chris Reeves logo up there. Not a ton of stuff going on there. Then we have, oh, by the way, one thing that does kind of suck is that the standard lanyard tube or pin is the cool blue anodized, whereas the replacement one is just the silver. So next up, let's take a look at the washers. So we have the washers with the holes that Chris Reeve is known for. I'm not sure if he's the first one to do it, but I know he's the first maker that I heard of that does this. And since then, there's a few makers that do it. From what I understand, there's two main purposes for having these holes in the washers. One is to hold grease better. You know, the idea being that grease will kind of trap inside these recessed holes here and not be pushed out quite as easily. And the other one is simply just to reduce the surface area that's rubbing against the scale and rubbing against the blade without having to reduce the washer size. You can see that this is a very large washer, but if you actually take the surface area that's making contact because of those holes, it's much less. Here's the blade. Pretty simple stuff here. It has a little kind of an etched type thing right there, and I'm not sure what that's for. It actually, what it looks like is kind of a grind guide or something to what the grind of the blade is supposed to be, but that doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of what that looks like. So I'm not sure what that's for. It's only on one side. Here is the detent hole, goes all the way through. You can see where it's traveling. The detent actually travels right on that border right there on the tang. So pretty cool. Next up, the pivot, which is actually a bushing system. So here is the actual pin on this side that goes all the way through, and then you have the bushing that goes around that, and then you have the smaller washer. The reason it's smaller is just so that it stays out of the way of the lock here. If you were to put this on there, see how it would actually cover up that lock bar, so that's why that's there. And another thing that's cool is the stop pin is actually has a I guess, I mean, it's not a bushing because it's not used as a bushing, but it has a sleeve over the top of it there. So rather than having a pin that's kind of inset, you know, so that it's not actually accessed from the outside, so that it's shouldered kind of on the inside, rather than doing that, what Chris has done is this goes all the way through, and then this is what actually sets the spacing between the two slabs. One thing that Chris Reeve is known for is you know, the great tight tolerances and fit and finish of his knives, and that's definitely true in this example. Everything is just snug, you know, there's no play. When you put this back together, I've already taken it apart, by the way. When you put this back together, you don't have to worry about, you know, adjusting anything, making sure the blade's centered. I mean, it can only go back perfect, basically. Now, here's the cutout, which is quite interesting as well. It has the two main cutout areas right there that form kind of this peak in the middle. From what I understand, this is an attempt to try and increase the strength right here. As has been discussed before, the weakest part of anything really is its weakest point, or the point of failure would be its weakest point. So you have this nice thick lock bar, but obviously in order to make it function, you have to remove material here. So the idea, from what I understand, behind this kind of double grooved way that Chris does it, is that the stress point would actually be in the middle. If you were to exert stress on this bar, where it would want to break is right in the middle of this thinned out area. So the idea behind this double thing here is to actually add more material in the middle, which needs the most reinforcement, and still allowing it to be thin enough so that you can put spring to it. It goes past the cutout mark here, but you can also see there's an additional groove inside there. See right here? That's additional milling that's on the inside there. And I imagine it's the same thing. I imagine it's just a way for them to increase its flexibility, you know, allow this to actually move while keeping maximum strength. So you can definitely see that a lot of engineering went into this knife, and a lot of the details that you might not notice are actually there for a very specific purpose. Pocket clip over here. It's got the patented, well, it's not patented. I always say that, throw that around. Patented. Well, I don't know if it's patented. But it's got this additional crimp right here. I think Microtech uses it as well. And it kind of gives you just an extra security, especially if you're wearing like jeans that has a thick rim on your pocket. That can actually fit up inside here. And it does take a little getting used to. There's a number of times where you slide this in your pocket, it hits here and you think you're done. So you kind of got to get used to, if you're putting a Sebenza in, that you're going to kind of feel that double kind of click before you put it in. Now the main thing I wanted to show you is the Lockface on here. So before I put that in frame, let's see if we can get this sucker to actually focus for me. Oh good, not too bad. Now look at that. That is very cool. See how this perfectly straight line right there? Now I assume that is the heat treating that is done to this lock face in order to strengthen it and reduce stickiness. Now I don't know if Chris does anything proprietary that nobody else does, or if this is you know, kind of the same thing that a lot of makers do with their lockup, where they will heat anodize it. I don't know if this is something different or if it's just heat anodized, but yeah, definitely very cool how that's done there. Of course, you got the detent ball right here. So yeah, just wanted to take that apart for you guys in case you've never seen a Sebenza. Obviously, not a ton of parts here. It's pretty simple with the monolock design that Chris came up with, and you'll definitely be seeing some more Sebenza videos. I've got, of course, kind of a review. I want to kind of talk about, you know, the significance of this knife, and I also want to talk about the lockup. That'll be a cool video that'll be coming up. So you guys take it easy. I'll come out with some more videos on it, and catch you later.